I've actually seen a ton of discourse about this lately. Like, there's a whole drama going on right now, I think, about, like, it's the usual kind of thing. It's big streamers versus small streamers, right? But then everyone's definition of big versus small is very different. There's lots of times where people are like, oh, I'm a small streamer, and then you check their thing and they have like 10,000 followers, and they consider that small compared to, say, like Hololive and things like that. And I understand that, because back when I had like maybe a 3-person average, I would look at someone like, say, Alm, and I would be like, holy shit, they're fucking amazing, I want to be like them one day, kind of thing. And then like now that I'm here, like, anyway. I think there's like a big misunderstanding about what actually does change when you hit partner, or when you do start to reach those heights. Because there's always people saying like, oh, you've changed, you used to do all of this all the time, you used to be really open, you used to be really this. Like, yes, but there was also a lot less responsibility. Like, the responsibility that I felt when I only had like maybe like AO and a couple more people watching me is a lot different to what I feel now. I don't know, I hope that makes sense for people, but it is very, very different. I think there's just like a huge misunderstanding between quotation marks, small streamers and big streamers, about what actually goes into content creation. Like, oh, you don't pay attention to small streamers, you don't pay attention to us, where? Okay, what's really amazing, right? I reached 700 followers on Twitter this morning, and I'm currently on 751. Do you want to know how many of those 51 that I received a notification for? 3. As far as I was aware, I only received like 3 notifications that people had followed me. So when I look at my profile now and I see it's 51, I'm like, where the f did the other like 48 come from? And it's not because I didn't want to see them. There's probably really cool VTubers that have followed me, and I have no idea that they followed me. And when you get to like the 10,000, when you get to like the triple, quadruple, whatever the fuck digits, you're not gonna, I'm sorry, but you're not gonna remember. If you have 1,000 people chatting in your stream, how are you gonna see everyone, man? You can't collab with everyone. You can't be friends with everyone. And it's gonna fucking suck for people. And it's gonna fucking suck for you. And if I actually meet partner, it's gonna fucking suck for me, because I want to be friends with everyone, but I can't. Because I will burn myself out. You will burn yourself out. People will burn themselves out trying to get people's attention. Imagine commenting on a Hololive's Twitter post. They have 3,000 replies. The likelihood is they're not going to see yours, and it's not because they don't want to, but they're just not going to see it. And it doesn't mean that they don't like you. They just don't know you exist. And even if they do know you exist, you are not entitled to anyone's time. Yeah, there's definitely people that are like, oh, I hate small VTubers, or whatever the drama was happening lately. But I really don't think it's as deep as a lot of people are saying. Like, I try and follow people as best I can when I see them, but I also want to protect myself. I want to protect my community. I want to make sure I'm not following and giving, what's the word? If I follow an art bot and someone sees that I'm following an art bot, that person might be like, oh, Liari's following them, that means they must be legit. Boom, that person gets scammed. That person's like, what the fuck? Liari's following them, why are they following a scammer? It's like these teeny tiny little like aspects of what you do that kind of makes it that you need to be like really careful when you start gaining kind of triple digits type. Like, there's plenty of other smaller like YouTubers that I've told them eventually, like, if you want to, I hate to say this in this way, and I'm really sorry, like, if you're pursuing it as a hobby, that's really cool. Like, I will cheer for you 100%. I love you. If you want to pursue it as a career, I also love you, of course. But there's a lot of things that you need to start thinking of. So if you want to like grow, if you want like sponsors and brands to notice you, you need to take a lot more care of the people you interact with and how you interact with them, and like, you need to build your brand specifically. Don't change. Haters are a good thing. Haters how you do the right thing. I think it's a difficult thing to say don't change, because you kind of need to in some ways. When you first start out, like, you can say almost whatever the f you want, right? The shit that you say to like 3 viewers, no one's gonna remember it by the time you have like 100. But if you say that same shit to 100 people, that's gonna get spread, and that's when more people start to hear about it, and then that becomes something that you're known for. And I think it's naive to say that you can't change, because you kind of have to. stay yourself, obviously. Like, I'm not gonna suddenly be like, ha, well, I'm so famous. Like, I'm not gonna change in that way. But you need to start thinking of things a little differently, I think. You don't need to think of like big and small, just be aware of the people around you, I guess. To me, thinking you're big and small is very toxic. It's kind of, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, you don't need to kind of compare your numbers and be like, oh, well, I have quadruple digits and you only have double digits, therefore I will not interact with you. There's been like other streamers, and when I say smaller, I just mean if you're going to compare it in terms of numbers, that have come to me and said that they were worried about like trying to approach me because they're going to stream to, I don't fucking know, 2 people, and I'm streaming to, I don't know how many people, but I guess more than that. They're nervous to approach because they're like, oh, they're so big, they're not going to care about what I think, and it's kind of just, yeah, I don't know. I don't think people need to separate themselves in that way, but just be more aware that it's not as deep as you think it is. It's not about you personally. It's not that they don't care about you. Like, it's just that they don't see you. It's not their fault. It's not your fault. Like, I think as long as you understand that sometimes you're not entitled to help, as long as you understand that if you had approached me and maybe I just didn't reply, because sometimes I have to actually go very deep into my DMs to try and find people who have tried to reach out to me, because that shit gets hidden. Replies and stuff get hidden away. But yeah, so like if you'd reached out to someone and they don't reply, it's not that they don't like you, just maybe they just don't know. Sometimes they're busy as well. Like, I work full time. I have so much. I have so many people asking to, or now I do, which is kind of interesting. Yeah, you are entitled to nothing. So even if someone says, even those bait posts, like, hey, I want to collab with people, and you reach out and say, hey, do you want to collab? And they say no. They're entitled to say no to you. Maybe they want to collab with a certain kind of people that they bond with. Maybe they just have specific people in mind. As someone who's been streaming for a long time, what's the greatest advice for someone? Your advice depends on the person that's taking it. There's no point in me telling Sora, for example, to stay humble type thing, you know? But for someone who maybe is like, you know, oh, I want to collab with someone, but they said no, they're such an asshole, then I would tell them the greatest advice is to stay fucking humble. It really depends on the person. I think the best advice is honestly like use every single avenue available to you, but don't feel entitled to it working. So go and reach out to VShoujo people for collabs, but don't feel entitled or angry that they don't reply to you. Feel free to like post all of your videos and cool clips on YouTube and just don't, like, it's gonna be hard, but you can't feel angry if maybe it doesn't work. Like, be more aware of yourself. I don't know. Like, I'm not very good with advice, I'm not gonna lie. Advice is really specific to the person. It's really difficult to give it, because what's gonna work for one person isn't gonna work for someone else. A lot of my advice is phrased conditionally. Yeah, exactly. Nothing is gonna work the same way for everyone. And even my incessant rambling from before about like big and small creators and things like that, it's not going to be a one size fits all for everything, because you are always going to get people who think that their opinion is worth the world, but you're also going to get people who are humble and they're aware that like what they say is not gospel. It's I don't know. It's an annoying one. If you could go back to the beginning of your hobby career, what would you tell yourself? Probably don't close your circle as much. Like, I have a very specific circle of like a community circle in terms of like collabs and things like that. And I want to branch out a bit more, but I don't even think that. Actually, yeah, that's what Siren said is probably what I'd tell myself. It's not gonna fall into your lap. Because when I first started streaming, this is 2017. In 2017, I didn't really put a whole lot of effort into the stuff that I did. And it's all gone now anyway, like it doesn't matter. I assumed that because I was like early, that I would succeed. And you could be the coolest fucking person ever. You could have the greatest voice. You could have the most expensive model. But if you yourself are not putting like actual work in, like you're not gonna get shit. If you don't know how to look after a community or even build one, if you don't know how to do anything, you've really got to put effort in. Like, you can't just start streaming and expect to suddenly hit all of those numbers. Like, I've noticed a thing lately where people were complaining that new VTubers were growing a lot faster, and I'm not gonna lie, even myself, I'm like shocked at how quickly a lot of new VTubers are growing. But then I look at the things that they're doing and they're putting in the effort, man. Like, they're spending time editing their stuff and they're spending time, like, making their streams better to be in. Like, there's definitely, look, like, imagine you get someone who gets rated by someone with, like, a fucking million views. Then, yeah, of course you're gonna, like, you're gonna at least grow a little bit. It's naive to think that you wouldn't, but you're not gonna keep it. So, yeah, I guess just be prepared to put actual work in if you want to grow. Or if you want it as a hobby, that's great. Like, slay queen. But if you genuinely want to be full-time, if you genuinely want to have it as a career, you're gonna need to work a lot and it's gonna suck and it's gonna make you so tired. Like, I am so tired. I stopped talking to a lot of my friends when the adoptees post kicked off, because I was like spending so much time making friends and, or like, I don't want to say friends, because the problem with the word friends is it means like a lot of people kind of entitle themselves to your time. And it gets really parasocial and it's kind of weird. I spent a lot of time making connections, I suppose. And yes, I know, like, oh, but why can't we make friends? Why does it have to be business? Sometimes it's gonna be, and that's not a bad thing. You make friends with everyone in your workplace. Don't surround yourself with yes men. Like, if I have an idea and I go to Siren, or if I go to Sora, or if I go to Res, and I'm like, hey, I want to do this thing. If it's fucking stupid, like, hey guys, I'm gonna tweet something really controversial, haha. I don't want them to be like, yeah, let's go, yeah, go Leah, woo. No, I want them to tell me how much of a fucking idiot I am. Don't surround yourself with people that are just gonna say, yes, everything you do is amazing. And also learn to accept constructive criticism. Just because I say, like, oh, this didn't work so well, this could have been better, I'm not saying this is shit. I'm saying this could be better. Yeah, taking constructive criticism is a huge part of, like, content creation as well. Like, in the entertainment industry. And yes, I'm calling it an industry because, look, it's gonna suck, but that's what it is. This is an industry. Imagine how awkward you would feel on a stream. And I've had this before. Now, this was in 2019? In 2019, I was watching a friend of mine, and at some point he asked a question. And he had a couple of people watching. Most of them were lurkers, which is fine. I fucking love lurkers. They make the world go round. He asked a question. He didn't really get a reply. So then he, like, stops the game. And he's like, hello? Anyone out there? ... Is anyone gonna answer me? And it was, like, really fucking awkward. I don't know. He was a lovely guy. It's just, it was really awkward to be a part of. It's an awkward situation for everyone. Yeah. And the more that people see you getting frustrated, or publicly frustrated with numbers, it doesn't really paint you in a good light. I mean, yeah, of course, you need to look at numbers in terms of analytics, but if you're constantly checking numbers every single second, like, oh no, I have 10 views, now I've gone down to 7, oh shit, I'm back up to 11, and you're gonna fucking hurt yourself, man. You're gonna upset yourself, and that's gonna come through on stream, and people are gonna notice, and it's not good for anyone. Take the criticism. It doesn't mean that you have to do it, but, like, take it in mind at least. If someone says, hey, I don't like the way that you did this, maybe you do. And maybe that's the only person that said that, and it's still valid criticism for them to say, I don't like how you did this. Doesn't mean that you have to change anything, though. If you're starting to stream specifically because you're like, oh, I see all these streamers make millions of money and I want to have that, like, cool, right, well, you're not going to get what you want. If you think like that and you put actual work in and you're realistic about it, okay, yeah, maybe sure. But, like, if that's your only thought, is every day you're streaming is specifically to make money and be famous, you're not gonna fucking get it. I'm sorry, man. I hope that this rant was okay. Like, I know it's, like, it's a really touchy subject. It's why whenever I don't engage in any drama on Twitter, no matter what happens. Like, I see it, of course, and I read through stuff, I read through call-outs and things like that, but, like, you're never gonna see me make a tweet like, oh man, I'm a small V... In fact, actually, no, I lie. I did make a tweet that some people of a similar size to me still scare me a little bit. Or it scares me to reach out to them. That is not related, however, to drama. That is just me being an anxious little ball. So, yeah, I'm never gonna, like, tweet about that kind of drama because people will remember, and it's just... Getting famous from being a drama tweeter is touchy. Because you never know when you're gonna be the next one, you know?